Good morning. I apologize, I'm just going to read this so it's succinct and complete. On behalf of the Pulpit Committee, I'm pleased to announce that we have chosen a candidate for the position of senior pastor. The candidate has been approved unanimously by the committee, and the session has been informed of our decision. We have selected George Sayour for the position of senior pastor at Meadowview Reformed Presbyterian Church. The congregational vote to affirm this call is scheduled to take place in 2 weeks, on Sunday, January the 12th, immediately following the morning worship service. The Book of Church Order requires a 4/5 majority to elect an existing pastor to the position of senior pastor. So that the congregation is well informed and without confusion, the committee would like to communicate the process by which this decision was made. Our desire was to select a candidate that would not only meet the requirements and the qualifications necessary for the position, but also fit well with the particular needs of the congregation, the staff, and the session here at Meadowview. After a period of accepting nominations on Sunday, November the 17th, the congregation voted to elect the following individuals as members of the committee. Ruling elders Ken Kuhn and Richard Jones, Deacon Carrie Schoaf, and congregation members Janet King, Sandy Perryman, Ozzie Marion, and myself, Kevin Miller. Our first scheduled meeting was held on Tuesday, December the 3rd. Prior to this meeting, on December the 1st, George Sayour submitted his resume to the committee via email for the position of senior pastor. It was in this email that he expressed his strong feeling of a call to the position, as well as the confirmation of that call with his family. He also requested to meet with the Pulpit Committee regarding his candidacy. Our first meeting was on December 3rd, primarily consisted of electing a chairman, myself, and a secretary, Richard Jones, as well as discussing George's application and his fit for the position here. The option of opening the search to other applicants was also discussed. It was in this meeting that the committee unanimously agreed to further pursue George as a candidate for senior pastor, and we elected to meet with him at our next meeting on December the 10th. This meeting was a time for George to share his vision and his role his vision and his passion for his role in the future of Meadowview, as well as an opportunity for members of the committee to ask any questions we had of him. After the time with George, the committee openly discussed our thoughts and concerns. It was during this time we decided as a group not to open the search to other candidates. Our primary motivation in this decision was our unanimous belief that George both fulfills the required qualifications and meets the current needs of the position of senior pastor at Meadowview. In addition to our time one-on-one with George, the committee has had the last 10 months to examine his gifting and character. During the last 3 months of this time, he has been in the position of interim senior pastor, where his abilities in preaching, teaching, and leadership have been clearly demonstrated. The two ruling elders present on the committee were able to testify to George's leadership ability with the session, as he has provided much-needed stability and direction. The belief of the committee is that no other candidate could possibly undergo a more thorough and demanding interview process as George has during this past year. Opening the search to other candidates would almost certainly delay the process for a period of months or possibly years, as choosing, interviewing, and vetting a candidate is a lengthy endeavor. This is during a time when Meadowview needs the clear direction, leadership, and stability of a senior pastor. Also, the much-needed help that would be provided by hiring an assistant pastor would be delayed. This delay would provide additional strain on the current pastors, staff, and congregation. Upon making this decision, we put on our agenda for our next meeting a vote to elect George as the candidate to present to the congregation. Our time in the intervening week would be spent in prayer and consideration regarding our decision. Our next meeting was on December 17th. The first item we discussed was refining the job description while ensuring George met the requirements to our satisfaction. We then voted unanimously in favor of electing George. The balance of our time was spent reviewing and refining the statement you're currently hearing. Our desire as a committee has been to be as thorough and as transparent as possible during this process. We believe God knew what he was doing when he called George here to Meadowview, as he has been a great blessing to the session, staff, and congregation during this challenging year, and we are excited to see how God will use him in the future among our congregation. Thank you.
And now I'd like to call up our clerk of session, Richard Jones, ruling elder, here to read an announcement that was made apparently last week.
Good morning. Session at the request of the Pulpit Committee has set a called congregational meeting to be held on Sunday, January 12, 2020, immediately into the worship service. The purpose of the meeting is for the election of Teaching Elder George Sayour as our senior pastor, approving the terms of the call, approving Greg Green and myself to sign the terms of the call, and to petition the Piedmont Triad Presbytery for an exception to the Book of Church Order, Chapter 23.1, requirement that the associate or assistant pastors may continue to serve a congregation when the pastoral relation of the senior pastor dissolves, but they may not normally succeed the senior pastor without an intervening term of service in a different field of labor. So it will be a petition to the presbytery to waive that requirement. Thank you.
So it seems like whenever I'm gone, announcements are made that are important. I'm honored, so thank you to the Pulpit Committee and all the support that I've received from all of you, and my whole family says that. And this is just a time for prayer. And so we're to be in prayer for, if this is what the Lord is doing, to call me to be your next senior pastor officially. I've been in this role unofficially for 4 months now, but to make this relationship official, we have to have a vote. And to put some understanding to what Richard just read there, when a pastor is existing in a church and then the church is going to call that man to be the senior pastor, you need an extra step with the presbytery just to make that vote. So it's going to occur at the same time as the vote. I would need an 80% vote of the congregation to be your senior pastor. So again, be in prayer for all this, and let's see what the Lord is going to do. We're honored, and I love y'all. So. Thank you. Thank you for that. Praise God.